I am drawing on my iPad Pro and I have an Apple Pencil. So what we're doing today, we are having a live digital art class where we'll be drawing directly in Procreate. And in today's class, we're going to be coloring. We're going to have a lot of fun in coloring our image. So if you want this image, head on over to artbizbakery.com, enroll in this course, and you will get this image so that you can import it in and follow it along. In our last class, we outlined the image, so we're just going to continue from where we left off. It is this beautiful cartoon woman that I drew, and we're going to color her today. This is the layer that has this graphic, so if I were to turn off the layer, it would disappear. Turn it back on, it reappears. So this is the layer that has our graphic, but I do not want to play in this layer because I don't want to mess it up. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate the layer. So just slide this over, hit the duplicate button, and now you have two of them. The one that's on the top, that's my main one. I'm going to lock this layer and I'm going to hide it. That way, if I make a mistake, I can always come back. Like this is my master up here. So now I have a duplicate. It's called outline. I could rename it. To rename it, just tap on the name, hit rename, and I'm going to just call it art, just for now. Calling it art, and so this is the layer that we have open right now, and I'm going to show you just the basics of how to color an image. Now the basics to color an image, as long as you have an art file that is fully closed in, meaning there's no holes or no gaps, you can just drag and drop and color. So let's say here's a color wheel. I'll tap here, and let's say I want her to have like reddish brownish hair. You can just go around with your stylus and pick whatever color you want. I'm just eyeballing it, nothing specific. If I wanted a specific color, I would tap here where it says value, and you could type in the code. If you were to know the code for the color that you want to use, you would tap it in here and put it that way. But I'm just going to drag and drop this reddish brownish color right in the hair. And there it is. So this is a quick review from last week. You can drag and drop color to color an image. So that's one way. So I'm coloring her hair. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways how to color an image. So we colored her hair by the easiest, most straightforward way to color an image, as long as you have a closed graphic with no holes, is to drag and drop. But I prefer to have each color on its own layer. So I'm going to do that in a little bit, but just for now, I'm just showing you how to drag and drop color in. So that's her hair. Let's say her skin tone, brown. Color it in, drag and drop. You can zoom in. This is her ears, drag and drop. And then these are our arms. So skin, we want the skin to be this brown color, right? So that's the simplest way to color an image in Procreate, drag and drop. Now let's say you want to color like you do on paper. Let's say you just want to color in the shirt. Let's pick a different color. Let's do something bright, yellow, yellowish, goldish. Let's say you just want to color in the shirt like you do with like how you do on pen and paper. This color wheel, you want to go around to pick the color you want, and you also have to go inside the circle. Down makes it darker, up makes it lighter. So I want it to be as close to this as possible. Not quite orange, more so a goldish color. And you can color it in a traditional way too, of just going back and forth, right? So you can do it that. Now, as you can see, coloring in like this, I am unfortunately coloring over the lines. And we don't really want to do that. So let me show you a better way to color in an image so that you do not go over the line. Especially if you prefer, hold up, okay. Especially if you prefer coloring with your hand. I'll show you how to color without going over the line. So let's undo. To undo, you can tap on the screen, or you can hit this little icon here, the undo button. And I'm just going to keep pressing it until I go back to where I was. So let's say you want to color this side of the shirt yellow, but you don't want to go over the lines. One of the easiest ways to do that is to mask this area. And to mask the area, you want to hit this little symbol here, the S, hit automatic. And I don't actually want to use fill, so let's turn that off. But I want to select where I want to color this yellow. So I'm going to select this area. And now I'm going to hit my brush. For brushes, you can pick whatever brush you want depending on what look you're going for. And I'm going to pick Inca brush. And now I'm going to color. So when I color, hopefully you notice the difference. I'm now coloring in the line, within the lines. I'm not coloring outside the lines at all anymore. And I'll show you again how I did that. So let's color this in all the way. And this is good, especially if you prefer having more control in your coloring, or this is just more fun for you to color in instead of the drag and drop. So let me show you again. So what I did, I masked the image. Masking means you block out the areas you don't want to color and revealing the areas that you do want to color. So let me show you again how you do that. Okay, one more time. You want to be on the layer that you're coloring on. So I'm still on this art layer. And now I want to color in this side. And instead of yellow, let's do yellow usually goes with purple. Let's do a purple color. I pick the color that I want, right? So it's purple. But I want to color within the lines on this layer. So as long as I'm on this layer, I'm going to click this little symbol here and click it. And then I want to make sure it's on automatic, right? And then I want to tap in the area that I want to color. So I'm just going to tap. And as you can see, it highlighted this area. Now I want to color it in purple. Make sure I go back to my brush, tap that. And then I'm going to color it in. And now I am coloring within the lines. And just keep going over. When I let go, it fills in nicely. All right, so I showed you two. And oh, I didn't talk about this. Now, when I mask the image, you see these like slanted parallel lines that's here. Hopefully you can see that. It's like it's going like this. That is the area that's blocked. So if I were to try to color, like say her lips, it won't work because those slanted lines are there. If I try to color her earring, it won't work because those slanted lines are there. But if I were to color here, let's say if I picked another color, let's say green, it'll show up here. But if I try to color where those slanted lines are, it won't be there. So that's what masking does. So I'm undoing it, going back to the purple. And so we did that. So I showed you two main ways. So the first main way was to drag and drop. The second way to color an image is to use the pen, your stylus, and just go in by hand. And I showed you how to mask the image. Now, one thing I should say with digital art is that there is 1,000,001 ways to do the same thing. So when you play around with the software, you're going to figure out what you prefer as you color. There's so many different ways to get to the same result. So what you are learning is the ways that I use. I don't know all the ways, but I'm going to show you the ways that I use. And hopefully it'll help you in your artistic journey. So it's not set in stone. If I do something and if you found a different way to do what I did, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly okay. All right, so let me show you another way to color an image, and that's to use the reference option. So this one's a little bit trickier, but I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, so let's go to our layers, tap there, and I created a new layer, and this new layer is blank. And I'm going to use my outline layer as my reference. So let's unlock it, and let's duplicate it. And then I'm going to lock it back because, again, I told you this is my master. I don't want to mess it up, so I'm locking it, putting that away. And I'm going to work with the duplicate that I just made. Let's rename it so we don't get confused. We can rename it as reference. Yeah, how you spell reference? There. Reference. Okay, spelled it correctly. So this will be our reference layer moving forward. The outline layer at the top, saving that just in case. If I mess up, I could always go back to this layer, but I'm just saving it for now. We'll be working from the reference layer. And what you're going to do is you're going to make this the reference for your coloring. So to do that, how it works, you want to have a file that is a nice outline. It won't work unless you have a nice outline file. So let me show you what I mean. If I were to turn off this art layer and turn this one back on, our reference layer back on, you'll see this is the original outline that I'm using. And if I were to turn off the background, then you'll see that it is truly an outlined image. There is no background white fill. It's truly outlined. It's like a color. It's like a digital coloring page, right? So black line and there's nothing else. So I'm going to use this as my reference. So what I'm going to do is tap here, and then we're going to select reference. And whatever you select, there a little info description will show up right underneath. And that's how you know what attributes you apply to this layer. So we were using this as our reference. Click that, make sure it's turned on. And then I'm going to go down to here, layer 3. Let me turn back on my background. Layer 3, I'm now going to color in this area using my reference. So let's say I want a green flower. I could drag and drop, and it'll drag and drop right in. And I'm using my reference layer to basically keep the lines. So that's another way to color. So I showed you 3 different ways. Now this works. When I use a reference, I try my best to keep my colors on separate layers. So everything that I want green, I'll keep it on the one layer. Everything I want red, purple, so on, I'll keep it on different layers. So that's what I'm going to do moving forward. So I have a layer for green. I can rename that. You don't have to rename things. I just do it to keep myself organized. Green layer. So everything that I want to be green, I'll put on this layer. Let me create a new layer. And the yellow was really nice. So let's rename that yellow. Or gold. This wasn't yellow, it was gold. Gold layer. And let's do one more. Skin. One more. All right, I know it might be a little confusing, but I promise you it's going to all come together so nicely. Skin, gold, green. Oh, we had purple. Purple layer. One more. We're going to do pink. So I highly recommend keeping your colors on separate layers. If you're just starting out in Procreate, you'll eventually get there. You're learning, so if you color all in one layer, that's okay. As you get used to coloring in the app, you will see that keeping the colors separate per layer will help you in the long run, especially if you make a mistake and you need to change something. All right, so I have green, gold, skin, purple, and pink. Let me move the skin layer up. To move a layer, just press and hold and drag it to where you want it to go. So I want the skin layer on top. So let's go back to our green layer. My reference is still turned on, so I can drag and drop this green anywhere I want to go. So I want green here and on the borders of the shirt. I love dragging and dropping. That's just how I color. I will use other techniques depending on the type of texture I want added to the art. But for now, we're just dropping and dragging. So we did the green on one layer. Let's go to gold. Gold was here. The recent colors that you use will show up right here called history. So let's do the gold that I had before. And now I'm on the gold layer. I want gold here. And I definitely want gold on her earrings. Where else can we do gold? Her pants could be gold. Let's see. Or skirt, whatever this is. That could be gold. We have a purple layer. Purple. And we had a pink layer. Pink. I don't want such a hot pink. A lighter pink. And I want some of the petals on this side pink, so I'm going to drag and drop. And let's go back to the purple layer. And I want some of the petals on the other side to be purple. History, purple. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, coming together. Now let's do skin. I'm going to do that brown color. I want it a little bit like more of a skin tone brown. So let's try this one. Make sure I'm on the skin layer, and I'm going to drag and drop into everywhere that's her skin. These are her ears, so we need to color that. Her arm. Oh, I forgot her headband. Her headband can be, let's stick it with purple. So let's go back to the purple layer, and we're going to make her headband purple. If you don't want to go here to find your color, you should also be able to just pick up a color by tapping the color that you already have. So just tap and hold, and it shows up in purple. And I'm going to drag and drop it here on the headband. We still need to color her hair and her lips. And I'm going to do that a different way again. Just because for this class, I'm showing you the different ways to color in Procreate so that you can get a better idea. And we're going to shade too. We're going to have some fun shading. So let's create another layer. And this will be for her hair. And her lips, because her lips will be a totally different color as well. It'll probably be in the pinkish family. So let's do her hair. And I want her hair to be, let's go in the hair layer. I want her hair to be this brownish color, but I actually want it a darker brown. Let's see it like that. Making sure I'm on the hair layer. I'm going to drag and drop. Yeah, this is good. Drag and drop again. And this is hair. It's just behind the earring. So hair. Okay. And then her lips. Let's move up to the lips. And I actually want pink. But I think I want a a dull pink. Let's try that. And a little bit brighter for the top lip. Okay, there. All right, we colored the image. I used a drag and drop method. And if I were to turn off our reference, it's going to look a little odd because the outline will disappear. So let me turn off the reference to show you. Turn it off. So all of the black outline is gone. So that's why it looks so odd. So let's turn that back on. And that's our outline. And now we're going to move forward into shading the image. So let us shade in her skin. And again, there's so many different ways to shade in an image, but I'm just going to show you one in particular. So we're going to do a new layer. And I'm going to turn off my reference because I'm not using this method anymore. To turn it off, click here and then find wherever it is, where that little check mark is, and click there and it'll turn off. You know that it's off because the little description that was here is gone. So I no longer want to use a reference, but I do want to use a masking in order to make my shading fit within the boundary. So to mask, hit this little symbol once again, tap that, and then I'm going to make sure it's on automatic. And then I'm going to tap all of the areas that's her skin tone that I want to work in. The first area I want to work on is her neck. And we're going to add some shading to the neck. So let's tap here. And you know you've tapped it when this blue highlight shows up. You know you've tapped it. Now you see how there's a little white there? All you have to do is tap the screen and drag over. Let me just try that again. Tap here, maybe tap within and just drag over just a little bit, threshold. And that's all we need to do. Let go. Go back to the layer. The layer I want to work in is this one, layer 11. And I'm going to shade the image. Shading is another thing that is very specific to the artist. There's so many different ways to shade. And I'm going to show you just the way that I use, one of the ways that I use to shade an image, and hopefully it'll be really straightforward. So the way I shade an image is I will take the color that I'm shading and I'll just make it a little bit darker. So let me highlight, right now it's pink. I don't want pink, I want this brown. So let me just tap and hold. It changed to brown. I'm gonna tap on the circle, get the color wheel up, and I'm going to make it just a little bit darker. And to make it darker, if you go up, it goes lighter. If you slide down, it gets darker. And the color that's on the left is the original color, and the right is the new color that's coming up. So if I stay here, it's really the same. We'll come down a little bit, slightly darker, and that's good for me. On my brush, I want to use the Inca brush for today, and I'm going to just shade in under the neck because we naturally have shade under our neck, and you want to follow the curve of her chin. So let's do that. And there, I added our first little shade underneath her neck. And I'm going to do the same thing all around the image. And I usually shade in wherever things meet. So for example, this is her shirt. So we want to shade here. And you want to follow the curve of the shirt. All right, can you see that? Next, we're going to do the arms and the head. So let's do the arms next. Right now, the arms is blocked for the mask, so we have to turn it off. To turn it off, just tap here. It goes away. And I want to now mask the arms, so let's tap here again. Make sure it's on automatic. And then we're going to tap here. Oh, wait. Oh, you know what happened? I wasn't on the layer to pick up the guide. So let's go back to the layer, the reference layer. Let's tap here. We have to make sure we're on the right layer for what we're doing. So let's tap here. Again, hit this button, automatic, and then we're going to tap in the arms. 1, 2. Now, in the previous class, I taught you how to use symmetry. So we could use symmetry for this. It would be easier. You know what? Yeah, let's use symmetry. So to use symmetry, you will go here. And symmetry only works when your image is identical on both sides, which this image is. If it's not identical on both sides, then symmetry won't work for you. So let's turn on our symmetry. Tap the little wrench, then tap canvas. Turn on drawing guide, turn that on. Then edit drawing guide, tap there. And we want to make sure it's on symmetry. And then we want to make sure the line is right down the middle. And it is, because that's how it was set up from last time. So let's tap done. And now let's see, symmetry is turned on the layer we're using. So that means if I were to color on this side, it's going to show up automatically on that side. And we are shading the image. So now I have to, once again, mask what I want to shade. So go back to I know it's a lot of back and forth, but this is digital drawing. This is what we do to get to the final image. So let's go back to the reference layer. And the reason why we need to go back to the reference layer is because we're trying to only color in the arm that's already defined, right? It's already there. So let's tap the reference layer, then tap this little S symbol. The S is, I believe it stands for select. So let's hit the little S symbol, make sure it's on automatic, and then we're going to tap what we want to select. And we're working on the arm, so tap here and here. You know that you've selected what you want to mask because it highlights blue. Now let's go back to the layer that we were shading the skin in, which is this layer. And you know what? Let me rename it because I will forget. So we could say this is skin shade, because I'll forget, my brain. The color that we're shading in, that it's already there. If for some reason you missed your color, just go to the history and pick it that way. So it's there. The brush that we're using, Inca, it's there. And now we're going to shade. So the way shading works, you want to basically shade the areas where the skin and the clothing meet. And we're going to shade all around here. Also, the way you want to shade where the clothing meet and the bottom of the arm. So the bottom would be down here. The top of the arm would be up here. So like, for example, if sunlight were to hit you in real life, the light would shine on this side, whereas the shade would be down here. So let's shade the image. And I'm just going to go around. If you think that the brush is too thick, right? If it's too thick, you want it thinner, just go here and slide this. Up makes it bigger, down makes it smaller. So let's just go around and shade around. Now, because this is underneath, you can make your shade a little bit thicker. And then come down. I'm using the Inca brush, but the Inca brush, it's leaving like these little like gaps here. So let's change the brush. One of the brushes that I default to is called Syrup. So let's see if that works a little bit better. Yes, syrup works good too. There's no, and again, it all depends on what you want to see in your detailing. Texture really makes an art piece stand out, and it could define your art style, texture. So if that's the texture you prefer to use, go on right ahead. Okay, so I shaded this side, and because my symmetry is turned on, look at that, it shaded the other side. It's all right, so we're still shading the skin. So we did the neck, we did the arms. Let's do the face. So to do the face, we have to turn off the mask, turn it off. Go back to our reference layer, tap it. Then go back to our mask. I know, so much back and forth, right? Go back to our mask. And we're going to click on the S once again. Make sure it's on automatic. And then we're going to tap the face. So we want to tap here. And yeah, we could do the ears. Tap the ears. And then we're going to go back down to our skin shade. And we're going to do the same thing around the face. Now to shade a face, well, we need to make sure we're on the layer that we're shading, and we want to make sure we're using our brush syrup. All right, we're good. Now to shade a face, the way you want to shade a face, you want the shade to fall below everything. So shade should be below the eyebrows, below the eye, below the nose, below the mouth. So you want the shading to go below everything. So let's start with the eyebrows. You can zoom in. And just follow the path that you're going. Now my symmetry is still turned on, so it's doing the other side for me automatically. Under the eye, same thing. You just want to follow the line that's there. The nose is a little tricky because the way I drew the nose, this is actually the shade already. So let's leave the nose alone because that's the shade already. Under the lip, you just want to do the bottom lip. Just follow along here. Okay, so that's how you would shade a face. You want to do everything underneath the elements that are there. And then you want to shade around the face. So let's just follow the jawline. And because symmetry is turned on, I don't need to do the other side. And I'm going to follow it up. And you also, just like the clothing, you want to shade the areas where another element touches what you're shading. So because there's hair on her face, you want to put like a shadow on her face to show that the hair is there. And then we're just going to come around and we're going to make it disappear like that. Okay. Now let's do her ears. And to do her ears, you're going to shade around the areas where two different elements meet. And for the ears, it's the earring. So just go around. Oh, it's too thick. Let me make my brush a little bit smaller. And then just go around. And again, where things meet. Okay. All right, let's turn that off. Take a look. Okay, so we've shaded the skin. Next, let's shade the hair. Now the hair is pretty dark. So what we'll do, we're going to highlight as well as shade the image, but we're still shading. So let's shade the hair. And again, I want to be on my own layer for my shades because if I mess up, I could just turn off that layer and start over. So find the hair layer, go up, hit the plus sign, and a new layer opens up above it. And so let's rename this hair shade. I'm going to shade the hair following the exact same concept. But I'm going to show you a different way how I shade hair. So what we're going to do, make sure we're on hair shade. And I want to select the hair, go to the reference, hit the select button, and we're going to tap the hair, right? And this is the hair that I want to shade. So I'm tapping the hair. And then I want to go back to my layer. It's here. And I want to pick up a darker color. So to pick up a color, just press and hold to get that hair color. Then go here to the color wheel. And I want it even darker, right? And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use a different brush. I'm going to use a brush called Airbrush. So it's in, to get to it, click on here, airbrushing, and let's use the one at the very top, soft brush. Okay, and we're on the hair shade layer, and I want it big. And with the way you shade hair, the bottom of the hair is darker and the top of the hair is lighter, and behind the head will be darker. So symmetry is turned on. Let's see. Symmetry is not turned on, so let's turn that on. Because I already went through the hassle of configuring my symmetry, all I have to do is tap the layer and then tap here where it says Drawing Assist, and symmetry will automatically turn on. And now I'm going to shade the hair, and I want it darker right here and around the shoulders. And then I'm going to come up, and I'm going to not press as hard as I go up. And hopefully you can see that. Let me turn it off. So you can see the shading around her should be darker, and as you go up, it should be lighter. Okay, and let's shade in a few other things. Let's do her shirt, and we'll be done. So for the shirt, we're going to try something else, another option. Let's find the shirt. So all of these are her shirt: pink, purple, gold. This is all her shirt. So what you can do is select everything by just sliding. There's a quicker way to do it, but we're doing long division way right now since this is a beginner's course. Make sure they're all highlighted and then hit group. And now we have her shirt. All of the clothing is right here. So we can rename this group as clothing. Return. And now I'm going to shade the clothing. So I'm going to show you another way of how I do shading. So let's hit the plus sign and reference layer, tap that. Tap the select tool because we're going to mask. We're going to mask what we don't need and reveal what we do need. So we're working on the shirt. So let's do here, here, and here. I'm tapping all of the shirt elements because I'm going to work on shading that right now, and the pants too. And we're going to color in. Let's go around the image and we're going to shade everything. And to shade everything, you just want to follow the exterior outline, but you want to follow it on the inside. Oh, my pen must have dropped something here. And I'm going to go around the entire shirt. And because my symmetry is turned on, it's doing the other side for me. I don't always use symmetry, only when the image is symmetrical. And being that this is a beginner's course, symmetry is very helpful. I'm going to go around the outside of the flower. Doing so will give it a 3D effect. And you got to trust the process. I know it's looking crazy, but just trust the process. I didn't like that line, so I pressed and hold. I tapped the screen to delete that. And then we're at the shirt bottom. We want to make a line as well here. And we want to make a line right here because this is where the shirt and the pants meet. And I want to shade up here too. Okay, I went around the whole image. Everything is shaded for the most part. And let's turn off our mask. And now what you want to do, the color that I use is like a reddish brownish color, which is okay. You could use black, whatever. But what we're going to do, we're going to apply some effects to this layer and you'll see how it looks. So let's go to the layer. You want to tap on, it should be on N for you. N is normal, but let's put it on multiply. And then let's turn the opacity down. And you want to turn it down to like around 20%. And again, this is just one way to shade an image. And you see the image is shaded. And we're going to give her some blush. So to do that, you want to select a reddish color. And you want to select the brush that we used before, which is called soft brush, or any of the brushes that's under the airbrushing tab. Soft brush is the very top. And then we're going to give her some blush. So there. And I'm just lightly pressing. And there's the blush. There it is. There it is. I like this much better. And I want it to, let's see if I do multiply. No, I'll keep it on normal, but it's too strong. So let me just turn it down, the opacity to like 50. So I want to see it, but I don't want it to be that prominent in the image. So there it is. And then let's give her some shadow, some eyeshadow. And to do that, a new layer again, and you want it to be lighter. For now, we'll just use her skin tone as our reference. So skin tone, and then I'm gonna make it a little bit lighter. And then same brush, I'm gonna go over the eye. Oh, see, I forgot to turn on my drawing assist. And I'm just gonna go over the eye. So there. So it's kind of like real makeup. So I gave her some eyeshadow and it's blended with her skin. So the last thing we're going to do, we're going to shade the lips. So to shade the lip, I'm going to use a different pen. I'm going to go back to my trusty inking syrup pen. And I want to take the color that is at the top lip. And I want to just draw it on the bottom. All right, so we're going to do some highlights. My symmetry is on. I forgot it was on. Let me see. I want to make sure. No, I want to make sure I'm on another layer. Again, just for good habit, you want to keep your colors on separate layers as best as you can. You will run out of room in Procreate, so you may not want to do that all the time, but once you get the hang of it, you'll see that separating your colors is one of the best things you can do. So I'm just going to go underneath the lip. And I'm outlining her lip right here. Symmetry is not turned on. And then I'm going to lower the opacity on the lip to around 50%. And then I'm going to use the color white. And I'm going to go in and just add a highlight. So you can add a highlight here. Every artist is different. Some artists will like just put circles to make it look like a shiny lip. But for my cartoony style that I have, I noticed that that doesn't really work well. For me, just a simple line will work. So I'll put a line there. And I actually want it to be a new layer. So that way I can mess with it again. There. And I'll usually put one on the top lip right on this side. And then from there, I will lower the opacity again, lower it. 25 looks good. And then I will do an actual dot that's fully white right here. Okay. And my drawing assist is on. Let me turn that off, drawing guide. And here is the image, fully colored and shaded. So let's do some quick highlights. And to highlight, I'm going to use white. And I'm just going to go around the image and I'm going to highlight. Highlights is basically areas where the sun or the light touches your image, and everyone highlights differently. I will highlight the face on one side, like here. And I'm just going to highlight everything on, I'm going to keep my highlight on one layer. All right, I want my symmetry turned on. Turn that back on. Drawing assist. So let's highlight. And to highlight, you want to highlight as if that's where the sun is dropping on an image. And so I'm going to highlight, actually, what else can I highlight? Oh, the outer of the arm. All right. I will usually only do one side of the face. It's just my little trademark that I do. The top of the headband could get a highlight. The eyebrow, the top can get a highlight too. And you'll see it'll come together. The nose, I usually will put a highlight on my nose. The top of her shoulder can get a highlight. And you see that I'm also interfering with the shadows that I added. So what I did, I just made it right next to it. And this is just my particular style. Everybody's style is different. And then I've added the highlights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity again. So tap the N, and this top line that says opacity, just going to lower it. And what it does, it just adds a little shine to the image. And I don't want it too in your face, but it's there. Let's do another layer and we can do the hair. Okay, so let us add some lighter colors to the top of the head. And I'm just going to go around. And I want my symmetry on because I would rather do both at the same time. So symmetry on. And I am adding highlights to the hair. And it's actually not as blurry as I would like, so I'm going to blur the image some. And to blur the image, I can do Gaussian blur, and I can just blur it out just a little. You see that? If you go to the left, it gets really blurred. So I want to still see it, but just a little. Yeah. And that's the gist of coloring in Procreate. So again, you can do what I did and work on multiple layers. I do that because a lot of times I change my mind with the colors that I'm using. So when I have my art on different layers, I can always go back and change it. Now you know how to color somewhat in Procreate. And the more you play with it, the more you can develop your personal art style. and the more you can just bring your ideas to life. This video has been sponsored by the Dime Smiles, which is my refreshingly delightful art brand where I get to create the cutest character art and place them on high quality goods to simply brighten your day. So head on over to thedimesmiles.com and grab yourself something cute.